Alright, this lesson is how to create an NPC spawner that will spawn NPCs around the map for us. And pretty simple. There's three entities involved. It's very simple to set up. And what it does is it allows us to have enemies spawn up, or citizens, or whatever, any NPC. It allows them to spawn around the map, so we don't have to go through and individually place every single person that we need in the map. So we're going to start with kind of the basic setup of what's required. So step one, we're going to grab an NPC. So for the lesson, I want you to use just the NPC citizen, this guy right here, okay? So to get this guy, you're going to go to your entity maker here, your entity tool, come over to this side, and you're going to type in NPC citizen, and it's this guy here. You're going to drop him in, and then we're going to open him up. So NPC citizen, I'm going to take my tool, open him up, and there's not a whole lot to do on this. This guy doesn't actually spawn. He's a template, and if we were doing Combine, we could set up what weapons we wanted him to carry and all that, and every subsequent spawned Combine would have that configuration that we set up. But for this guy, there's not a whole lot for the citizen for us to play with here. And we'll cover the Combine more when we get into the sort of the tactical stuff that they can do. But for the spawner, we just need somebody who can pop into the game and not shoot me in the face. So all we have to do to this guy is we need to name him. So we're going to say name, and I named him Citizen Template. And under flags, you're going to check the box that says Template NPC. And it says used by NPC Maker will not spawn. So what that means is that this guy will not spawn into the game world. So you can put him anywhere you want. He's not, as long as he's within the map. He can't be outside the map because he'll leak. But you can put him anywhere you want, into a side room or on the roof or anywhere, because this guy will not spawn in the game. All right? Now, the next thing we need to do is choose our spawn points. So for the spawn points, it's these little green targets right here. And, normally I wouldn't just scatter them in the hallway. But for the lesson, I want them to spawn in front of me. Normally you would hide these in areas that the player can't see, so that when the NPCs spawn into the game, they're not popping up right in front of the player. For the lesson, they are going to pop up right in front of the player. But for gameplay purposes, you don't want zombies spawning while you're looking at them, because they just teleport into place. It's kind of weird. So for our lesson, we're going to put them visible. Normally, though, keep in mind you would put these off into hallways and alleys and rooms and stuff, so they're kind of hidden. So the name of this entity, again, I'm going to go to my entity tool, and this thing is called an info NPC spawn destination. So it's info NPC spawn destination. Now with these, the only thing you have to do is name it. So I named it NPC spawn, and you'll notice this is bold. And what that means is that there's multiple objects with the same name. That's because all your spawn points have to have the same name. The spawner will look at all of them and make a decision at which one it wants to use. So you can have as many of these as you want. I've got 4 or 5 on here, but you can create as many as you want. And when the spawner starts running, it will pick which one it feels is the best to spawn at. So once you create it, all you're going to do is just copy it and just put copies of it wherever you want. So I'm just going to shift click drag, and I'll just put these anywhere on the map that I want them. You can have as many as you want. Okay, but the main thing is all of these have to have the same name. All right, now the final piece to the puzzle is this thing right here. It's a little stork with a baby head crab. And the name of this this entity is the NPC Template Maker. Now there's 2 of these. There's an NPC Maker and there's an NPC Template Maker. We're using the Template Maker because we're using a template NPC. All right, so make sure you get the right one. And this also, nobody's going to spawn here, so you can put this anywhere you want. You'll notice I put it next to my template NPC. It's easier for me to organize it that way. But you could have one room on your map where all your entities are sitting. You just put everything in there, your sun, your NPC makers, your templates, all that stuff. You can just lock them off in a corner somewhere if you want, but it's up to you. All right, so this thing, fairly simple to set up. NPC Template Maker, we're going to give it a name. So I named it Citizen Spawner. By default, it's disabled. So where it says Start Disabled, put that to No. The next step, number of NPCs. So this thing has think of it like a capacity. How many NPCs can it spawn? So I've got it set at 15. So it means that this can spawn 15 NPCs before it's empty and can't spawn anymore. The frequency is how often it's going to spawn an NPC. So 1 means every second it's going to try to drop in a new NPC. This number, max live NPCs. So what this means is how many NPCs from this spawner can be alive on the map at any given time. So it says 5. So what that means is that I have 15 citizens inside of here. When the game starts, it's going to spawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's going to stop. Okay, so now I have 5 in the map, and there will be 10 left inside of here. Because remember, this started with 15, so 5 of these guys are going to move into the game. If I kill a couple of those guys, then it's going to spawn 2 more. So it's always going to keep 5 in the game until this thing is empty. Then, once you kill those guys, then the game, it won't spawn anymore. But so these numbers, that's what those do. The name of the template NPC, this is who it's going to spawn. So it's this dude right here. This is who we're going to spawn. Don't worry about the radius. The name of the destination group, this is the name of those little green target spawn points that we had. So we give it that name, so now it knows where it's going to try to spawn. If you use a destination group like we are, then you also get these options right here. So destination criterion visible to player. So what this one means is we have yes, no, and don't care. So what this is asking you is, can it spawn NPCs that are visible to the player when they spawn? So if you say yes, that means the spawner, even if the player's looking right at it, we can pop an NPC out on it, and they'll just materialize right in front of you. No means that if the player can see the spawner, this won't use it. It'll go to a different one. And then obviously don't care means you don't care. It'd do whatever you want. The destination criterion for distance to player is kind of a similar thing. It has nearest, furthest, and don't care. So what this does is you put all those spawn points around your map. It'll look at where the player's at, and it'll either spawn close to you or far away from you. It'll pick based on that. And then obviously don't care means it doesn't care. And then we can also set up a minimum spawn distance so that if you're too close to it, it won't try to spawn. We don't need to use that because we're using these right here. All right, so let's go ahead and click apply. Close this up, and I'm going to save my map. And then we're going to go ahead and run the map. All right, now I've already got the map running, so I'm going to bring it up here. And I'm going to reload. Disregard the glitch there. I got to fix that. And there we go. You can see these dudes spawning right in front of me. There they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember the template guy, he's not in here. This is where the template was setting. So I'm going to do this one more time. Okay, and you'll see these guys start popping in. And then there's another guy somewhere. There should be 5 of them here somewhere. There they are. I don't know where that 5th guy's coming in, but there must be a spawner behind me or something. All right, so there's the people. All right. NPC Template Maker.